Hey guys, Dov here with some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. Khazrak with his pig boys and their fancy new banners up against the Skaven today. This is Shetland Apache once again, this time against Hadriz. And Hadriz Skaven find themselves immediately surrounded here. The Doom Wheel going to work against some of these Blackhorns Ravagers. We've got Centaurs out the wazoo, Harpies, some Ungor Spearman Herd. Plenty of them. We've got Centaurs over here as well, and more Razorgore Chariots. As for the Skaven, said Doom Wheel, currently doing Doom Wheel things with Clanrat Spears. We've got Mortars firing in support. Skrulk on foot, of course, leading the way. There's plenty of chaff with some elites in there, mixed in there. Storm Vermin, both Halberd and Sword and Shield variant, received some very minor buffs to their, I think it was their melee attack, I want to say, not sure, but anyway. They'll do quite well here. 44 melee defense with their buff, 38 melee attack with 120 models is actually quite good, and a beautiful Pit of Shades here. The Centaurs, unfortunately, are going to run through it a little bit, do some damage to themselves, but they were able to decisively shatter quite a few of these chaff units here. The Beastmen just pressing forward on all fronts, routing away units quite quickly, and these Razorgore Chariots are going to be absolutely brutal. Not any Rat Ogres to hold them back. There is a Hell Pit Abomination here, though, in addition to the Doom Wheel, so the Beastmen do have to contend with some Terror units. You can see the Terror already kicking in for quite a few different units. These Blackhorns Ravagers, Centaurs also probably likely to be terrified here, although they do catch the Doom Wheel, are able to do some okay damage to it. You can see Harpies and more Chariots swarming. The Shadowcaster's been blasted quite a bit by various things. He's not doing too great. But he's going to get in here and run over a few chaff just to make himself feel better. Hell Pit's trying to stabilize in the center line. You can see the Storm Vermin here kind of fighting near the Hell Pit, trying their best to form a little bit of a defensive pocket here as the majority of the army crumbles. It gets Zap, getting taken out here most likely by these Ungor Herd. Maybe. It looks like Ikit Zap crew might somehow be actually winning that fight. I don't really know what's going on there. But anyway, the Doom Wheel also still being alive is great. It can kind of act as a mobile threat against the Beastmen infantry. Maybe pull some of these Bestigors and other mobile units out of here. Although, of course, if they do chase the Doom Wheel, they're not going to have the best time because of the firing in all directions. But things are definitely looking pretty grim for the Skaven. Skrulk doing his best to hold out here. Summoning some more rats into the scrum. This time, just Plague Monks. Yeah, that'll do some great anti-infantry damage against the lighter infantry of the Beastmen. So nice summon there, and you can see the Doom Wheel comes in to play some bumper cars. We know bumper cars is absolutely a viable strategy in this game, especially with armor-piercing chariots running into each other. And the Doom Wheel definitely has a clear advantage, given that it causes terror. The Razorgore Chariots actually get caught on some Clanrat Spears there. Very nicely done. The balance of power still very close, all things considered. There's no big summons timing push here, so the balance of power is a little bit more true to what it should be than in most Beastmen games, but did you know Harpies actually count as infantry size? So these Plague Monks will get their bonus versus infantry while fighting these Harpies here, able to tear down a few of the Sky Fiends very efficiently. And the high armor, of course, of the Council Guard and the regular Storm Vermin going to work to their advantage here. Where are the regular Storm Vermin? They're still here. Yep, they're still holding out. They're 44 melee defense, rather, going to do quite well here against a lot of these tattered Beastmen units. The Razorgore Chariots will do well against them, but they don't want to get caught up in sustained combat against the Storm Vermin for too long. Storm Vermin, they're an interesting unit. I'm a fan of the Sword and Shield ones, maybe like one or two to kind of form a bit of a backbone. They actually have better melee defense than the Halberds, and the Halberds, I find, just their offensive output is not good enough to justify the lack of missile block chance and their their lower melee attack in general. Skrulk here, trying to stay away from too many mean Beastmen units and also use his Contaminate effect to debuff their leadership, help lead to terror routes, but you can see here the Doom Wheel and the Hell Pit Abomination are causing major problems for the Beastmen at this point. They really don't have the tools to deal with either of them, and going all in for a Vanguard Rush build like this can leave you with that problem, especially with the Doom Wheel. I mean, obviously you can take like the armor-piercing Centaurs. If they can catch the Doom Wheel out somewhere, they'll do a lot of damage to it. And Ungor Raiders would have been a really nice choice to help deal with the Hell Pit Abomination. I joke and meme about how OP Ungor Raiders are, but really they're a fantastic unit, to be honest. Considering how cheap they are, they have Stalk and Vanguard, 90 unit models as well, so they have excellent volume of fire. They don't have the worst combat stats in the world, because of the Beastmen's kind of faction ability, the Bestial Surge. Oh man, I don't know who's screaming, if it's rats or harpies. I can't tell the difference, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, some Ungor Raiders would have been great to deal with this Hell Pit Abomination in this late game, but very impressive. Hadris was able to kind of stabilize that rush, stay calm, and use his terror units appropriately. At this point, Shetland's doing his best, kind of rallying his forces back together here. He's got a few more chariots, some Centaurs, Khazrak himself, 113 charge bonus. If he can direct charge that Doom Wheel, he could potentially do quite a bit of damage to it, but we'll see. Aggregate bumper cars is a thing in Warhammer, and it's a lot of fun, to be honest. The Ungor Spearman Herd, no shields. Means they have lower melee defense. They have just the same leadership anyway, though, so they are going to promptly run away here. See the Razorgore Chariots not really wanting to engage. They're going to try and play it a little bit more patiently here. Gather together more of their forces, just kind of throwing in some of these Harpies and other low-tier units to kind of tie some things down here. The terror routes won't count towards, like, the total route limit for your unit shattering, so they'll be just fine. Let's see. Shetland not wanting to rush in here too aggressively, and doing a great job using his mobile units to clean up what's left of the chaff here. So it's really just Skrulk. I mean, granted, Skrulk can continue to summon chaff, and you can see there's still a good amount of bodies here of both variants of Storm Vermin. And here comes the summon, just like I was saying. That is the strength of the rats, and this Harpy is lost in her own personal hell as the Skaven hole opens up right underneath her. And yet she can't pass through, experiencing her own alternate reality there. But anyway, let's move past that and have a look at these chariots as they charge in. The Harpies also swooping in. Harpies actually have okay melee defense, and since they don't count as large, they won't be subject to the bonus versus large of the Hell Pit Abomination, but they do have very poor leadership. They're not going to want to stay in fight for too long. Another Plague Monk summon. Great job by Lord Skrulk calling up that anti-infantry to help fend off those Harpies here. Centaur's also getting a rear charge, trying to do some damage to the Doom Wheel, but they don't, again, can't stay in sustained combat for too long. They are much more vulnerable to the big baddie here. This giant, nasty rat thing, I don't even know, to be honest. What is that? What is it? Like, I don't even know. Anyway, Lord Skrulk here. Also, this Rod of Corruption will do a good job against these Harpies as they kind of rush in for this final blob. And the Beastmen kind of making their final charge here. You can see, like I said, Khazrak coming in, especially with Scourge active, able to do a lot of damage to the Doom Wheel. And I almost wonder if he had focused on trying to play bumper cars with the Doom Wheel a little earlier on with Khazrak, he could have potentially stabilized that mobile engagement, and with enough forces, perhaps won this late game. But that Hell Pit Abomination was going to be a problem. I mean, there just really wasn't a lot of units in Shetland's army that would have been good for dealing with it. The Ungor Spearman Herd, if he had like one healthy one in the late game potentially, but even then, their poor leadership means they'd probably just get routed. Beast Chariot seeing off the Doom Wheel there, then turning around and promptly just rushing these rats here, getting a nice little drive-by. Here come the Storm Vermin. Oh yeah, and the big boy Hell Pit. Sweeping down, swiping up chariots here. They'll be quickly sent packing, and I believe we're going to be moving towards army losses. Yep, terror route on them, I believe. Where's Khazrak at? He's still over here. He's going to now charge, and he'll do a lot of damage to the Hell Pit Abomination if he charges it directly. But instead, he chooses to go after the Council Guard here. They are, of course, unbreakable. Dude's still doing some good damage to them. They're down to just 27 rats. Centaur's on a quick hit and run there, and the chariot returns from terror. Shetland doing his best to try and stabilize this late game and still win. It's looking pretty tough at this point. Maybe if he could take out Skrulk, that would affect the leadership of the Hell Pit. You can see Khazrak does just that. Drives through, bops Skrulk right on the top of his head. But there's the Hell Pit as well to respond. Beastmen leadership being what it is, it's going to go ahead and give out here. That should be the end. We'll see. Maybe not. Yep, there we go. So, very nice game. Well played to both players. Hadris doing a great job staying close with his Storm Vermin to that Hell Pit Abomination, you know, fighting with support there. And the Doom Wheel, 145 kills and an XP Chevron. absolutely running rampant over a good portion of the Beastmen army. But speaking of high kill totals, 125, 121 for the two Beastmen characters, 258 for this unit of Centaurs here, 97, 161, 195. I mean, you would expect that against a very high model count army like this of the Skaven, but even still, very impressive. 62 kills in the Chevron here on the Harpies. As far as like how you could maybe fit in a couple of Ungor Raiders here, I think maybe, I don't know, the Blackhorns Ravagers, I do like the pick of them here. They'll trade well against most Beastmen infantry. They did kind of get run over by the Doom Wheel, which was definitely tough. But if you cut them and, yeah, we'll go do some theory crafting here in just a minute. But for the rest of the army here, the Poison Wind Mortars got taken out pretty quick, and weapons teams are often very tough to protect against Beastmen, so kind of going with these heavier units and either sort of baiting in or doing a counter rush can work out quite well. Skrulk also 50 kills. We didn't even see his summons either, but 91 for the Storm Vermin, 84 for the Council Guard. As for the Beastmen in that build, the two Chariots, they did so well, it's hard to say that you shouldn't bring them. The Beast Chariots here are so good against the Skaven. So, I don't know, but, I mean, considering you also have the two Character Chariots, it might be a little bit of overkill. So you could cut the one Chariot and just bring two Ungor Raiders almost in its place, or, yeah, a little bit more, actually. Or, like I said, you could potentially cut, like, one unit of Harpies, maybe the Blackhorns Ravagers as well. Just bring a few there. Whatever you can do, really, to try and get some Ungor Raiders. 2 to 3 are just so good in just about every situation. And there they would have provided a very cost-effective way of dealing with that Hell Pit Abomination. But that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.